And I think we're live. We're on the internet.
Fantastic. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Final Rites today. It's a gloriously hot summer Tuesday with just a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes. But we're happy to be here, happy to be entertaining everybody. Those of you who could join us live on Twitch, so glad for your audience. Those of you watching on YouTube, hello as well. Wish you were here. But as always, my name is Jason Catrone, at JustJasonPlease on Twitter, and I will be your DM extraordinaire for today's proceedings. But the story wouldn't be half as interesting without the lovely accompaniment of the players that I have with me today. Angela, could you be so kind as to kick things off? Tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, how you doing, what you're drinking. I don't know.
I'm drinking water.
Okay, that's
everyone else should remember to go get water.
Yeah, that's
very important.
Very important.
But I am Angela. I play Jovi, who is a tiefling mixologist. We've talked about that before. It's a custom class. Very fun. Excited to serve drinks today in this most dire of circumstances. You can find me at darling_gypsum on Twitter. And I'm a role player all over Nerdsmith. Woo-hoo.
Woohoo! All right, fantastic. Good to have you here. With us as well is the ever wonderful, and in this case, evergreen player of our resident Drunken Fist monk, Rachel. Hi, how you doing? What you got going on? Who you playing? Etc. etc. And you're muted. Oh no. Oh no.
Still muted.
Be muted. Oh dear. There it is. Well, yep.
No, I don't hear her. I'm oh no.
Oh no. Technical difficulties as we begin today's proceedings.
Just gotta pop back in. See if it works.
Okay, how's this?
Yay!
All right.
Okay, I fixed it. Yeah, I'm
double through Zoom, so time to go back and mute Zoom and unmute just all these wonderful little
stream
things.
of things. What the heck? I didn't know Zoom went. I'm good. I'm very good. I'm playing Mercy. I'm a Drunken Fist monk, and I'm gonna fix all my problems.
It'll be perfectly fine. Don't worry. Don't panic at all. Perfectly good. All right. The good people can find you probably at Telinier on Twitter, I believe is the handle. Yes, obviously. All right. Well, I guess.
Okay.
Yes. All good. We're here. We're alive. We're happy to be here. Probably. Maybe.
We're going to make it work.
Heavenly. Hurry. Before they notice that we're not professionals, go ahead. Introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you're playing, etc., etc.
Hello, my name is Heavenly. You can find me on Twitter at that is my real name. I am playing Nowhere, a rogue tiefling, because we're all tieflings, if you haven't figured that out. I haven't quite figured out the lighting in my new room yet, so sorry if I'm a little dark. That's just the way it's going to be for right now. Get so excited to be here. Play.
Like one of those lifestyle influencers. It's
fight
all
the,
like
fight
soft
the baby.
daylight lighting. You're going to teach us about your haul at Sephora.
I'm excited to fight these babies. Let's fight these babies.
Yes, let's
fight the fire babies.
Fight fire babies. Fight fire babies with more fire? ? We'll find out later. But for now, we have to go ahead and get a few things out of the way. A little bit of house cleaning for the good folks over at World Anvil. Yes, one of our most glorious sponsors that we're so happy to be sponsored by, so happy to be a part of and party to. They are just gaggle of the best folks that are around in this community. Their platform, World Anvil, as is probably evident, is a place where you can forge your own worlds. World building and whatnot is integral to that platform. It's basically the most comprehensive wiki you could ever ask for, any fantasy setting or sci-fi setting or just any sort of creative energy that you've got that you want to pour into an actual world. Go ahead, check out World Anvil because they are among the best of the best, if not the best, in my personal opinion. And for less than the cost of a subpar sandwich a month, you can actually have a guild membership with them, having a little bit of extra features on their platform. It's free to try, obviously, but supporting them, it's such a labor of love is just a non-starter in my head. It's just a marvelous time. You might have even seen them, Demetrius and Janet, speak with, I believe, Satine Phoenix on their little European tour that's been going on after they traipsed through London. It's just honestly just one of the best crews out there, and to be sponsored by them is such an honor, such a pleasure. And even today, after today's session, we'll be showing off a little bit of their summer camp that's been going on. More on that later. For now, we also have to give voice to our lovely folks over at Die Hard Dice. Yes, Die Hard Dice. Just a really passionate and marvelous group of folks putting out some of the best polyhedrals on the internet. You got metal, you got plastic, you got designs that are just breathtaking. And honestly, I could not, sing their praises high enough. But if you go ahead and go over to dieharddice.com, if I'm not mistaken, you can go ahead and, give them a shout. Tell them we sent you over there. And just really knock it out of the park in terms of your dice game. Outside of that, we do have a little bit of an announcement or an addendum to an announcement. It's very strange. Angela will be the one to explain. But as they may very well know, unfortunately, Pride Month has shuffled off this mortal coil. It's not. No, that's not. That doesn't sound right. Somebody help. Angela, help.
It is now July 2nd, which means it is no longer June, which means it is no longer technically Pride Month, but we celebrate all year round. What are you talking about?
It's now Wrath Month, where we destroy those who...
It's Wrath Month. So we are still going to be selling our Dragon Egg Pride pins. I'm not sure it's all set up yet, but if you go to nerdsmith.org/pride, we still have the sales for the Pride pins. And once the pre-orders have completed, which I think they have, all the sales of our continued sale of the Dragon Egg pins, $1 from every sale is going to be going to the Trevor Project. So we will be continuing to support their life-saving services for LGBTQ plus youth in crisis. Even past Pride Month, we always want to give back to a cause we're very passionate about, and we think that it is something that you should try to help us support as well. And you get a kick-ass pin out of it. It's very pretty. And also keep on the lookout for a future Kickstarter. We will be producing Dragon Egg pins in a number of Pride color combinations. And we are very excited to start producing those. So we'll give you more heads up when we actually know when that's going to go live. But stay frosty. It's
fantastic. Yeah. I actually didn't know about that Kickstarter. So go ahead, go on to nerdsmith.org /pride or / support in order to figure out how you best can help this wonderful, wonderful group of creators continue doing what they love, doing what they do. And got 3 new sites for you in terms of your browser history: worldanvil.com, dieharddice.com, and nerdsmith.org. If you haven't already, visited those 3, which, you got the time, but stay here for now. Hang out with us for the next couple of hours as we go along and, as Heavenly so marvelously put, kill these babies. So,
fight these babies. We don't know if we're gonna win.
That's a fair enough point.
Just being realistic here.
Obviously, the most terrifying, entities in all of creation, babies.
Babies.
Anyway, without further ado, I believe we've got
slight ado as I try to be the producer, but go ahead.
Slight ado as we cut to the lovely intro video that's been prepared, and we say, "Welcome aboard." Nope. Wait.
Nope.
Not that yet. Wait, it'll be here. Hang on.
That was a smooth, pretty transition. I'm so proud of myself.
Absolutely, yes, and we're proud of you.
I'm sorry, the curtain keeps. I keep peeking behind the curtain. I shouldn't be mentioning.
Ah, could be worse. Could be worse. All righty. Now, when last we left this intrepid group of employees, shall we say, we're not exactly adventurers, not exactly heroes. We're industrious group of tieflings.
Final Rites Associates.
Final Rites Associates.
We don't even have a union.
Seriously, I gotta get that bingo card going. Because Mercy tries to start a union. It's definitely on that.
Absolutely. Well, before we get too far into it, I need everybody to roll initiative for me, please.
Oh, which dice? Let's use this one for today.
Oh, please, having initiative.
17 for Mercy.
Natural 1. That's a 4 total.
It's a great start. It's a great start. I got an 18.
All right. High rolls almost all around. Sorry.
Almost
Really
meaning 2 out of 3.
Let me tell you.
2 out of 3. That is still a good number. All right. So just to make sure that is amidst the players, Nowhere at the top of the round with an 18. Mercy following behind with a 17.
Yep.
All right. And then Jovi, what was that? What was that number again?
4 total. But a natural 1, so please feel free to let that be.
Well, let's just say we'll let that mean you probably go last in the initiative order. Okay. Depends on your dexterity, but we'll see.
But they're babies, Jason. They're freaking babies.
We're gonna get them.
Here we are at last to the mature rating of this game.
Yeah, no kidding. Alrighty, so let's
distinguish
see.
them.
Finally got the initiative in order. So, top of the round. Surprise, surprise, Nowhere. As you are all aboard the elemental plane of fire, you hear the willowing winds of this plane echo throughout your consciousness. And from the sands, you see popping forth from so many crystals a few bright spots of light that seem to surround and otherwise encapsulate you. They are glowering in intensity, but growing in fervor as you note that these sort of dimensionless forms burst from the ground and with red hot eyes kind of jolting in random directions, settling upon the lot of you. There are about 12 or so in number. It's a little disconcerting, but, could somehow be worse. Within this circle, you find yourself, Mercy, and Jovi flanking you, as well as your intrepid servant, shall we say? Zombeefcake, the zombified minotaur that usually serves a function aboard the Rites, but was assigned to you thanks to some strings pulled by your mortal nemesis, Bajazet. Top of the round is yours. What do you do?
How many babies are there?
About 10 that you can see immediately surrounding you.
And what are they doing exactly?
They're looking at you very menacingly, and they seem to, well, go ahead and roll an insight check. And do you understand Primordial?
Let me check my languages.
You're about to.
I do not.
Let's
roll an
make
insight.
That insight check at disadvantage because you don't exactly know the kind of decorum, and you do hear like scant whispered, or You do hear like scant whispering amidst them, but it's very hard to decipher.
Well, my roll with disadvantage is 18.
With what? Whoa, okay.
My first roll was a 26.
Well, fuck. Okay, with an 18, you get the sense that they are wanting to fight, but only because they perceive you as a threat. You get the sense of these are babies that were expecting a different form to be greeting them upon their birth? Question mark. So you don't get the sense that they are explicitly hostile beyond that. Like, they don't want to like hurt you. They're just a little threatened.
If a baby. What the?
Okay. Did that count as my action, that insight check?
I'll say that was at least your minor action. So you still have a major action that you can undertake.
Okay. I am going to I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna explain what you just told me to my cohorts. I'll say, it appears that we have found ourselves in a birthing room, and perhaps these babies are a little frustrated with the situation. Understandable. I too am quite frustrated with the situation at hand. I don't feel good about killing babies, and I would like not to.
Such a brave stand.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Can I just say that I really believe truly in my soul that Nowhere also jangles as she talks?
Yeah.
And looks around?
I think I'm gonna always wear these.
But it's her armor.
I'm always gonna
It's her
wear these
armor.
earrings when I stream. Oh no! I just exited out of my. Oh no!
Oh no. Wait.
Oh no!
Oh no! Disaster.
I just exited out of my browser tab that had an 18-thread Greyhawk channel shows as GIFs that I hadn't posted yet.
Oh no! Everything's fine.
Ooh, I feel that one. Ooh, that hurt.
On the fire, baby.
Ooh, that hurt. Okay. Oh gosh.
All of a sudden,
Too many tabs.
Tabs of the brain.
That's I think what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna fight these babies yet. So I'm just gonna kind of share that information with my cohorts, and perhaps one of them will come up with a solution.
Okay. We'll say that until such time as you make a decision, we'll say that you can have like a major action just withheld for now in your back pocket. Since you didn't move, you didn't do anything like that. So hold the movement in order, or hold the major action with the movement. We'll wait.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeeting on over. Mercy.
Speaking
Next.
of the eat. Okay, so are we surrounded?
By 10 small fire elementals that you can tell.
Okay,
Yes.
second question. Are they small or tiny?
I would say
If tiny is like, I guess, is a cat tiny? In like the stats for creatures?
I see what you mean. Go ahead and make a perception check. Or a nature check, whichever is larger. Or actually technically Arcana
okay.
check, I would say.
I mean, this is. I just literally want to see how big this thing is. Is it smaller than a football?
I would say about the size of. They come out to about your mid shin to like the bottom half of your knee.
All right, that's a kickable thing. Okay, so
You described that as.
and we are surrounded. So say nowhere. I don't know what you're planning, but we're surrounded. One way or another, we're gonna have to punch our way through. I don't have any intention of staying here and teaching them about the beauties of the world. So yeah, no. and I'm just gonna leg it towards the direction we were already traveling. And I would like to take my hammer, like, I'm not gonna say gently because you can't do this gently. I'm just gonna try and swing and smack one of them and just football punt it like as far as I can.
I'm getting such a South Park
Just
mind flash right now.
that vibe, yeah, honestly. Wow. Okay, so go ahead and just whirl up your hammer and then let fly. Let's go ahead and see what that attack roll is.
Okay. Okay, that's a 27.
Okay, let me check the armor class of this
Does a 27 hit the baby?
I'm checking. According to what I've got pulled up, yes, it does.
All right, so as I hit, I say "Happy birthday," and then.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not messing around.
Second funniest thing that's ever been shouted in a game I've been in before someone tried to attack a child.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The damage isn't very impressive. That's a total of 6 bludgeoning damage.
6 bludgeoning.
Do I yeet it away?
I'll say this. As you are spinning your hammer wildly Thor style and just crack it across the face of this thing, I'll good lord. You note that it's
Remember they're monsters. Does that help?
I'll help even further. As it displaces, your hammer actually passes through it. There's not much in the way of solid material, although the flame is cast aside a little bit and a little bit back. It tumbles back ridiculously until such time as it springs back up. Those sort of 2 eyes turn a deeper blue shade, almost like a neon, in conjunction with the rest of them that simultaneously take on this blue hue. And each of you notes this sort of swirling maw of fire that suddenly begins to reveal itself and open.
Okay.
As you are running away specifically, Mercy, you note that they seem to be screaming at you. And they seem to be very, very, very angry.
That's fine. I got a bonus action for just this scenario. I would like to, I guess... Oh god, monks. There's so much random shit monks can do. I'm gonna Karen leg it and say, guys, I think I did bad. Run! And I guess, is our way still kind of blocked, or can I try and, at least push back another one on my way through?
I will say the way that they're kind of spread, you can just hit one more, but you won't be able to, go your full movement. Okay, if you hit another one, you're in full combat, basically. And they can take a swing at you.
Alright. Alright, then in that case, I will use Flurry of Blows to follow up with another boof. And this is an unarmed strike, but I think because we're level 5, it does d6, which is smiley and great. So yeah, I'm gonna follow up with Flurry of Blows. I'm gonna pop the nearest one to me. I'm basically just trying to create a path so we can leg it. And that is a 15.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, wow. Strangely enough, your hammer not as effective as your fists in extinguishing these fire elementals. As you sort of spin around and quivering palms strike this other fire elemental that leaps into you, it perfectly lands in the middle of its face and it dissipates in sort of a puff of smoke.
Nice.
Actually, kind of these errant energies kind of whirling up your arm in more of an aesthetically pleasing way than a threatening way.
Nice.
But immediately you are the target.
That's cool. I have another attack for Flurry Blows because monks.
Damn son.
Yeah.
All right.
This one is a 19, so that's 27.
Guess what? That hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Okay.
And
That's a total of 7 points of damage.
I'll say that was this a different fire elemental as they're sort of climbing around?
Yeah, because you said I poofed the last one, right?
Yeah, you poofed one, and now you're going after a third.
Just like I'm not like chasing them down like some kind of mad serial killer. I'm just trying to like get out and clear a path.
I'll say that there were about 3, and it was 7 damage. Yes.
Yes. And because I am a drunken master monk, whenever I use Flurry of Blows, I gain the benefit of a disengage action, and my walking speed increases by 10 feet. So I'm going to run my complete 50 feet in the direction that we're traveling. Be like, come on, guys!
All right. So immediately after disappearing one and then quickly spinning around to trounce yet another in similar fashion to the hammer, just kind of making it tumble back, you bolt out of there ridiculously, moving your full movement as quickly as possible, as it is now the fire elemental's turn.
Yeet!
Oh boy. Mercy, I have some bad news for you.
They can run as
Their
fast as I
movement
can.
speed.
Fuck.
Their movement speed is 50 feet. Yeah.
Fuck!
So after running a ridiculous speed, you're actually feeling a little bit good about yourself until you feel hot on your trail with like a bit of a burning sensation on your back. The two that you were engaged in combat with immediately launching themselves to you, brilliantly burning this neon blue flame that streaks through the air, this very acrid smoke, almost black and like soot-like in quality. As they launch themselves towards you. Okay. That's probably not gonna
6? No.
enough. Hiya. And then 5.
No.
No. Okay. You see them try to slam themselves into you, and fruitlessly, unfortunately, they land sort of at your feet, or adjacent to your stride, sort of grazing your calves with that uncomfortable heat, but nothing more beyond sort of injured pride.
No, I won't be responsible for children, not that nightmare again!
Mercy used to take babysitting gigs. It didn't go.
All right. Nowhere. As it is quite evident that the flame elementals are now trying to be in combat with you, is there anything you would like to do before the rest of their turns?
Well, no. Okay. So Mercy just kicked a baby. And
Yes. And
then
hit
she
another
tried
one.
to run away.
Well,
I mean, when you put
yeah.
it like that.
When you put it like that, sounds really bad. She hit one with a hammer and then punched one so hard that it disappeared, and then kicked the other one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of a path that's clear. Hopefully.
Okay, well, as a rogue, I can disengage as a bonus action on my turn. So let's just say I prepared disengage on my turn, because you said I could have a action prepared. So can I disengage through that hole that was created?
You know what? I'll allow it. I'll say that there's enough room where you can bolt through. We'll say that you held your movement because so what's your movement speed?
I think what keeps happening is I keep holding the Alt button while I'm doing stuff, and I think that's what closed my tab last time. So
That is the exact same thing that I've been. Yeah.
Alt, and then you typed what, and as soon as you hit the W.
it is 30 feet.
30 feet. Okay. You are able to sort of pierce beyond the assemblage. They're about 10 feet away from you, so you're about 20 feet away from the circle itself. not enough, unfortunately, to avoid the two fire elementals that are trying to slam themselves into you. So, actually, let's make this 3 fire elementals. Why not?
Why not?
Why not, indeed? That's a 6. Can I roll higher than that? Oh, I rolled an 8. And then, come on, guys. You're embarrassing me. All right. 18. Any of those hit?
The 18 hits. What were the other ones?
An 8 and a 6.
Just the 18.
Just the 18. I figured as much. So, as you feel this terrible singeing sensation land kind of probably along your thigh or so, the body of the fire elemental kind of gets within your stride a little bit, and you take, as a result, 6 points of bludgeoning damage and only 1 point of fire damage.
But
But as fire damage is reduced significantly, so it's halved by your tieflingness, because tieflings, and it's halved again by your clothing, is it not?
My fire resistant dress, yes.
Ah, yes, your fire resistant dress from the finest of all designers, Gork to Orc.
Yeah.
At minimum, you have to take 1 point of damage.
yes, minimum of
Minimum
Okay,
of
so I'm
one.
taking the 1 point anyway.
You're taking the 1 point. It lightly singes the hem of your dress.
Mercy, this is exactly why I suggested that we shouldn't attack the babies.
I mean, they're like a day old. What you gonna do? Talk to them? I call back from 20 feet away.
Jovi. Exact same thing.
So,
exact same situation as your natural one, shall we say, did not put you at the top of the initiative order. No. So that's 3 to that, 2 to that. Oh, by the way, there's 2 of them trying to launch themselves at you. Natural 20. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
no.
really sorry.
I am resistant to fire, though. It should be okay. And my best stat is Constitution, so bring it.
All right,
Actually,
and then
pretty decent.
all right, let's go with 8 for the second one.
8 damage or 8 to hit?
8 to hit.
Because I'm insulted.
8 to
Why are you
hit.
asking this? Our minimum AC is 10.
I am just asking, okay?
I do not have a -2 dexterity. Excuse me.
All right, so
No,
doubling
8
the
does
dice.
not hit.
All right, doubling the dice for the one. Okay, and then oh no. So I'll break this down. 10 points of fire damage,
Okay.
unmitigated.
I will clarify. I'm not a fire resistant.
Oh, no!
I am fire resistant next
Why
level.
don't you steal Nowhere's dress? God.
Whoops.
Because she's wearing
Jovi,
it.
come
It
with
stopped
me
you
next
before.
time I go to get an outfit made. Gorg will take fantastic care of you. I know that you don't obviously care about fashion, but I think that he would find something that would fit your unique flair for layers? Is patterns?
Meanwhile, she's just burning in pain.
Yeah, I just imagine.
Yeah, like me just getting.
I'll say this.
I feel like nowhere sees Jovi as like having the mentality of like a tropical bird where it's like, oh, she just needs noise. She just needs there to be visual noise to attract.
I'll say this. After the first one launched itself to you, it kind of caught a little bit of your skirts on fire, so that's a little bit annoying. You get slammed by nowhere, and then you get physically slammed as... And I'm not making this up. I'm sorry. 20
Please tell
points
me.
of bludgeoning damage just hit you in the gut, along with
I'm up.
along with the
It's
10
okay.
points
I'm
of
up.
fire damage.
I'm fine. For the record, since you also clearly care.
I care. I
Um,
just assumed you'd get out of there faster.
So that's 30 points of damage. Total.
Yes.
10 fire and 20 blade.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, without much in the way of, that one just lost it. Never mind. Without much in the way of protection of zombie beefcake, you note that the 3 fire elementals that did not pay attention to you suddenly launch themselves and like hit various portions of the hazmat suited zombie that is carrying the only means to transport the crystal that you have to secure for the ship in various different places, at which point that they collectively just do a number on this chap. Luckily, you note that the hazmat suit or whatever this poor Minotaur is wearing actually mitigates some of the fire damage. And so as you see sort of the flames lick upon the sides of this suit, the Minotaur kind of looks erratically. Self-preservation instincts kind of kick in suddenly. As you see, it begins to, with the actual container that it's holding, slam into a couple of the flames which surround it. With that, I want to say that one... oh wow, that one does not hit. Okay. Sucks to be you, Zombie Minotaur. Oh, but that one definitely does. Okay. So, it slams into the ground once, and you note actually that the fire elementals are just tricksy enough to weave out of the way and keep it distracted until such time as the Zombie Minotaur actually attends to where it will be instead of where it is in the current moment, and brings it down on one of the fire elementals, completely dispersing it in totality. It's gone in a puff of smoke. The second one died. With the end of the Zombie Minotaur's turn, we come to the bottom of the initiative order, where, hey, Jovi, you've been
Last, but certainly not least, but certainly the least amount of HP right now.
Yep.
So at first, Jovi was... This is so good, because this is true. Jovi was reaching into her bag, thinking, "Oh, Nowhere can talk to things real good. So maybe if she could understand what they were saying, it'd be helpful." And she was going into her bag to get a buff spell for fucking Nowhere, and then she runs off, and then she gets bashed in by a fire elemental baby. So she goes, "Oh, okay, I see how it is. I'm just gonna get the fuck out." And she reaches back into her bag, grabs a serving of Mad Tea's cocktail, and chugs it as an action.
Okay.
Mad Tease gives her the benefits of the Zephyr Strike spell, so
nice.
movement does not cause opportunity attacks for her.
Fair enough.
And then the other effect is she regains 2d8, or she gets 2d8 plus 4 temporary HP. I rolled real good, 15 total, so she has
thank God for
15
you.
temporary HP, and she's going to run the fuck away. She's gonna
Really?
dash towards the other two.
You sure about that?
I'm
pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm very certain that is the course of action. So I'm gonna take my movement and my... Oh, I guess I can't dash because I did my action. So I will just move.
Yeah.
I'll just move. I'll move my full 30 feet towards Nowhere and towards Mercy, let's be honest. And and yeah, so I've taken my temporary HP and I've moved. And that is pretty much my turn.
Okay. Nowhere, you note that Jovi has, with invigorated spirit, despite your witty banter. And
Well, it was banter, certainly.
banter, certainly, has made herself able to catch up with you perfectly on time. No worries whatsoever. As the 3 fire elementals that are still surrounding you begin to kind of have their attentions diverted and otherwise scattered. Top of the round, merci. What will ye be doing?
Nowhere's before me.
Yes, no. What will you be doing after we get to nowhere? So, nowhere.
Quick, we're gonna check you on your first, and then we'll go to the real turn.
Let's do this, and then also over there. Okay, so now, okay. So I feel like, so I'm talking to Jovi. I'm just trying to give her some feedback about her wardrobe and some ways to be maybe better prepared, because preparedness is obviously the name of the game. And as I'm trying to just help, she is being pummeled by babies.
Pretty much, yeah.
Does she feel regretful at all, or?
Well,
Oh, that's unfortunate. Not my fault.
As I'm watching this in my head, my internal monologue is something along the lines of, well, if I were to have any of the final rights employees die on my watch, that would be just terribly inconvenient. The paperwork alone would take up the better part of whatever time I would have left, and it would keep me up at night for I don't know how many hours, which would cut into my sleeping routine, which has recently been perfected. And not to mention, Hamish would be terribly upset, and he may not be able to function properly, meaning that guests wouldn't be able to get their drinks. And if they can't get their drinks, they may be unhappy. And as I'm thinking all of this in my head, I'm going to pull out from my knife pocket, which is sewn into all of my clothes. It is seamless.
Of course.
I pull out of my knife pocket these 2 beautifully crafted daggers, and I will say aloud, "Let the record show, as my book surely will, that I did not want to fight babies." And I will attempt to attack the nearest baby.
Okay, there are 3 at your feet, so go ahead and make an attack roll.
And I'm just trying to think, what can I do as a... Here we go. So actually, as the first thing I'll do before I do that is I'll use insightful fighting, which is a bonus action. So I will make an insight check against one of the babies, which will be contested by its deception.
Okay.
Deceptive baby.
This is about getting information about them, right?
Yeah.
This gives it so I get sneak attack on them.
Now that you're in a combat scenario, go ahead and roll an insight check. Just regular insight.
Okay. Let me get into my dice roller. It's on my phone. It's another tab.
So many tabs. More tabs. You gotta get more.
That is a 22.
You insight the shit out of that baby.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You're perfectly fine. You got sneak attack.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
So now I have sneak attack on my baby, on this baby, which is so great. Do I get sneak attack for each of my weapon attacks just once or just once?
Excuse me. I believe sneak attack is phrased in such a way that it's the first attack.
Okay, so I just get one sneak attack.
Yeah. I believe.
Okay. I didn't even need to do that. I would have had sneak attack anyways, but it's about the oomph.
Yeah, exactly.
I turn to one of the babies and I take out my 2 knives and I'm like, interesting. And I will stab down on that baby.
Baby fire elementals.
Context.
Before demonetization kicks in, we're stabbing baby fire elementals. This is
Stabbing down on that baby, please.
Stabbing.
Here's my first stab down on that baby.
Here we go.
It was a 7, which means it was a natural 1.
Oh.
Join the club nowhere. How's it feel? Free admission.
You tried. You really did. Just
Did your
stabbing
maternal
down as
instincts
best you could.
kick in?
I don't have a maternal instinct.
Nah, I didn't think so.
It just has a fiduciary instinct.
Exactly.
Emphasis on douche.
Oh, come on. That is your superior nowhere. Well, what technically, never mind.
I
So,
didn't hear my quantified life.
unfortunately, as you stab down, it weaves out of the way quite spectacularly. Anything else you would like to do?
Yes, I have 2 weapon fighting, so I'm gonna stab down on that baby again.
Okay, try again, and we'll
That
say
was a
that sneak
24.
attack damage. Hey! Guess what? Yeah, you hit that, and we'll go ahead and say that sneak attack damage applies here because
Yeah, because I think I get to choose at what point the sneak attack.
Yeah.
It's not like necessarily the first one. It's just once per turn.
Yeah.
So this is my once per.
yeah.
Okay, so for the knife damage, that's 4 knife, and for the sneak attack, that is 6. So 10 total damage to this babe.
So it tries to weave out of the way, and it kind of gets a little cocky and laughs at you for a split second before
Well, that's
you,
creepy.
yeah, before you slice it across the sort of facial area, and the wild, chaotic elemental energies actually burst apart. It's sort of like popping like a real nasty boil or something like that. Just it's
Uncalled for.
sorry. I don't know metaphors that well. A water balloon. A water balloon, but it's made of fire. That's
a fun visual.
sure. A water balloon, but it's
It's
made
like a Rasen gun.
Yeah.
Fellow nerds.
of
Oh, my nerd cred, it's gone.
God, guys, you're not nerd enough.
So, I like the confidence of the fellow nerds. Just met with this. Never mind. The baby's dead. Next one. just. Is there anything Nowhere would like to do?
Yeah,
on
as
her
the
turn?
baby pops, I'm just gonna go, ugh, unsightly. And then I'm gonna like wipe my dagger off on my dress.
Wipe off the flames.
Yeah, I'll say this. It's
There
actually
has to be a little bit of goo.
well. The residual energy that came from the crystal, it's actually not dissipated completely. So it's kind of like that sparkly goo that you get at like science shops these days. It's actually kind of complementary to your current attire in a very
okay.
strange way. Yeah.
If it looks good, then
Yeah.
that'll be my turn.
All right. So, Rachel, I quizzed you earlier. Mercy, what's your turn going to look
All
like?
right, Mercy looks at the 2 and goes, okay, so they seem to be like really fast. Not much tends to be able to outrun me, so I think we're gonna have to poof them. And I just like, as I'm saying this, I jump and just try and like Mario slam into like the nearest one and just stomp it.
Okay, there are 2 beside you, so we'll say you go ahead and try that.
Stomp the nearest one.
Stomp. Curb stomp, yeah.
Okay, 7, so it's 15 to hit.
Just barely hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
That's 7 points of stomp damage.
Okay, stomp that. Stomp it real good. It's less of a Mario stomp and more of like whenever you're trying to stomp a cockroach, but it's a little too fast, you wildly like stamp at it, and finally, upon the final stamp, you plant it into the ground, and that same sort of sparkly glue kind of makes its way around your
Nice.
shoe as
All
its elemental energy just peters out.
Cool. Then I'm going to use flurry blows again to attack. They said there's one more right next to me.
A single one.
Cool. This time it's a 18.
18. Yep. Go ahead and roll for damage.
It's another 7.
7. Okay. Well, guess what? That's enough. These things do not have hit points, guys.
All right. Twitch has been very temperamental lately.
Oh,
Well, it wasn't so much temperament.
no.
It was our dearly beloved producer's internet went for a second. Okay, we are back connection. Hi, everybody. Thank you for your patience.
Where do we get to, guys?
Yeah.
I done a second boop. I puffed another baby. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to just let go of the last flurry blows, not use that, and then I'll move to kind of go, and then I'll leg it back to where Nowhere and Jovi are. Just like, oh god, you guys, come on. Just like jogging on the spot, like, come on.
Yeah, I just imagine you
Mercy
kind of
jazzercise, just like waiting.
bunny hop back a little bit as Mercy and Nowhere make their way up to you. There's still at least a good how many?
I've killed 3. Nowhere got 2.
1. So that's 6 that are left. And unfortunately, 2 of them are at Nowhere's feet. The rest of them are over by the Minotaur, if I'm not mistaken. So, Jovi, as you jog up next to Nowhere, one launches itself at you with a 12 to hit.
Does not hit.
I think it's a 12. Just gonna make sure here. Don't want to rob myself of any damage. Oh, yep, nope, that's just a 12. And then for Merci, or Nowhere. Oh, hey, another 12. Well, I figured. The rest then launch themselves at the zombie Minotaur. One misses, one really misses, and that's a hit. So upon the zombie Minotaur, yet another batch of flame hurls itself into it, causing a bit of a ruckus. You note that the actual apparatus that shields the Minotaur is beginning to sort of twist and contort rather uncomfortably. They're not taking mass amounts of damage, but oh boy, this is the roughest you've seen one of these workers aboard the Rites.
Is that guy gonna blow?
You don't exactly know, as unfortunately, no, that one didn't roll. There it is. Unfortunately, it brings the canister down into the sand once more, trying to do away with these ridiculous elementals, but fruitlessly so. It's kind of standing in place. It hasn't been given an order or otherwise, so it's, again, that sort of fight or flight mechanism lever kind of pressed firmly into fight. Jovi, 'tis now the end of initiative, and it is your turn.
Okay. So in my babysitting of the internet, I missed how many we have remaining. You said they're all at the Minotaur?
3 are at the Minotaur. 2, I believe, are with you. Or did I miss one? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I did miss one. They're... you know what? Since you helped point out, Jovi, does a 9 doesn't hit, surely. From out of the corner of your eye, yet another fire elemental launches itself towards you. So there are 3 by you and 3 by the Minotaur.
Well, then I better deal with that. Well, since opportunity attacks can't get me, I'm gonna be more concerned with the Minotaur getting attacked, and I'm going to fuck off these 3 that are around me. Be like, hold that thought, fellas, and she will run towards the Minotaur and attack one of the baby fire elementals.
Alrighty.
Rather, she runs forward, pulls her rapier from her belt, and takes a stab.
That's right. We got drinks and now stabs. Go ahead and roll for attack.
Well, that's an 8. But I have extra attack, so 15?
That hits. Go ahead and roll for
Alright.
damage.
Very nice. Okay, so she pierces, stabs, and does 10 piercing damage to one of the fire elementals.
Okay. You pop it like an icing bag. It sort of spills out this kind of like slime mixed with, again, that kind of crystalline energy. It crackles and fizzes and just spills onto the dirt.
She lifts her rapier like a marshmallow had been over toasted and just like off of it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that is my turn. I have no bonus actions, so go ahead. I mean, I can't complain. My drinks do 2 things at a time. It's like whatever. Trade-off.
Swings and roundabouts as we come to the top of the round. Nowhere. You got 3 of these thingies around you.
I thought I only had 2 because I popped one.
Another one yeeted itself towards Jovi, and then Jovi left. So,
Okay.
Bye. I did say out loud, I'm worried about our buddy.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
he's the mission operative.
I'm going to keep stabbing. I'm going to do the stab down.
Alrighty. Go for the stab down.
Once again, stab down on this baby. That's a 9 for
9.
my first attack.
9 total.
Yeah.
That's a no-go.
Okay, and on my second one, 18.
That one does hit, so go ahead
Okay.
and roll for damage.
So 1d4 plus 3. I like this dice roller I use because it allows me to it's like a calculator, but there's a D button. So I just do
Ooh.
1 and then I press the D button and then the 4 and it rolls 1d4. It's really cool.
Oh, that's
that's good.
That's very nice.
It's free. It's called
We're not sponsored, but it is an endorsement.
it's called
from
Dice
Nowhere.
X.
Dice X.
DICEEX. Dice X.
Huh?
Pay me, Dice X. No, I'm joking.
We love Die Hard Dice stuff.
We love Die Hard Dice, and we love everybody.
But if you're like me and you move constantly and you never know where your dice are, you need something on your phone. Unfortunately,
we are an equal opportunity purveyor of all things polyhedral.
okay. So I rolled that wrong because you guys were confusing me. So
Sorry.
Excuse me.
so that's a 7 stab damage plus my sneak attack is ooh. Did I do that right? Oh yeah. Hell yeah. So
That's good
16
damage.
sneak attack damage is 16.
So again, in similar ice pick fashion, you cleave this one in twain, and its elemental energies just sort of. Blech.
Ugh,
Yeah.
this is unsightly.
Yeah, I'll say that. So you are now down to a total of 4 fire element.
Mhm.
Let me try that again. Yeah, 4 fire elementals around you, 2 in each camp. Mercy, what you doing?
Okay, so I realized I've been monkeying a little wrong. I forgot that I actually get to attack twice per turn, rather than just once and then flurry of blows. So first up, I'm gonna take the hammer and try and smush the last remaining. There's only 1 remaining baby.
2.
2 remaining. Okay, cool. Then I will try and smush one with the hammer. For a total of 17 to hit.
17. Okay. Yeah, hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Okay, 10 damage of smush.
Unlike the first sort of fancy schmancy kind of Thor move you were trying to do in the beginning, this one is just a straight up like Gallagher style smash into the ground. It disperses ridiculously, and indeed actually coats like the bottoms of your trousers in this sort of crystalline substance.
Wow, fuck yeah, I sparkle! And then I'm gonna try and kill someone.
Go ahead.
Oh, but I don't think it's gonna hit because that's an 11.
Not this time. This one's a little bit more wily than its
Dang it.
splatted cousin.
Alright, let me just have a look what bonus actions I can do. Oh, I can still do... do I want to save my key points, though? I think I will. We've got this handled. Bonus action... Sorry, there's just so much random monk stuff. Cool. I'm gonna end there, I think. Yeah.
Alrighty. So, reserving a little bit of your ki, your energy for the fight that is most surely ahead, you prep for this strike against this fire elemental as it retaliates and launches itself into you.
Okay.
Or at least tries to. 18.
Yes.
Alrighty. So with 18 to hit, and then we have the damage. 4 bludgeoning, and then 5 points of fire damage.
Okay, halved because I do have a resistance.
Halved because you're just
I do have
special.
a... Yeah. Teethy teeth.
And then we
Hang
have...
on, can I make a reaction?
Sure, absolutely.
I point at it, and I'm going to use Hellish Rebuke to say, "You're grounded." And then I'm going to, use Hellish Rebuke. So it has to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity saving throw, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, hang on for a minute. What's the DC on that?
Just 12.
Ooh, yeah. 17 on the dice, so...
Okay, so it's going to take half damage, which is 16, but it's... So it would take 8, however, this is fire damage, so I assume it either resists or...
Yeah, I'll say this. As you sort of speak these very threatening words, a sort of black fire emanates from the core of this creature, obviously infernal or demonic in nature, that ripples out and then eventually finds itself cast out from the fire elemental. You did damage it, just not as much as you thought you would, you know?
Hey, that's, every little helps.
Indeed it does. So, with that damage already resolved, the other two Jovi, you note, launch themselves into the Minotaur. Only one finding purchase within sort of the groin region, kind of this zombie cake. Immediately, oh wow! Literally immediately, as the fire elemental falls to the ground, it drops the canister on top of it, again having this similar Gallagher style effect, as the full weight of this contraption just flattens the fire elemental in front of it, turning its attentions to the other. Unfortunately, again, it's just too quick for the Minotaur to keep up, and though haggard and obviously weakened by the struggles, the Minotaur is still standing. Sturdy enough to last through a lot. What is Jovi doing?
Jovi is going to attack one of the two creatures with...
Sorry, I should have made clear. There's only one left around the Minotaur.
Attacking.
So, yeah.
Then she is attacking that one. 20 total.
20 total. Yeah, that hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
6 piercing damage.
6 piercing. Stabbing into the sort of form of this creature, you pardon, it having been wait, I can't remember if this was the never mind. Stabbing into the form of this creature, you're able to have a similar effect as the one, although the sort of higher energies that keep such a vessel imbued with life and power still seem to churn and almost chuckle in a very devious way as still rattling around. There's life in this thing yet.
Did you mean that there was one total in the entire encounter, or just the one near the Minotaur?
The one near the Minotaur and the one over by Mercy and Nowhere.
Okay. Then with like a little grit in her teeth, Jovi kind of feels that, let's say it feels like a high caffeinated energy from that Zephyr Strike spell, and she knows that there's this like little burst of extra oomph that she has built up, and that's sort of how she's getting around so quick, but she knows she can expel it in a really quick way. She's going to use the ability on Zephyr Strike that she's going to get advantage on her next attack roll, because she's got the extra attack, so she's going to roll with advantage trying to hit it.
All right, expelling this energy, there's sort of this there's sort of this anime wind like blast that comes from Jovi as immediately the saber is or the rapier is brought out, and then swiftly striking once more. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
I rolled a 24 with advantage.
Gonna go ahead and say that hits.
Okay. So in addition to my normal rapier damage, it's going to deal an additional 1d8 force damage, so we're overkilling. That's 6 and 1 force damage. So seven total damage on it. So there's this little burst of force damage right at the end.
Yeah, I'll say it was expelled mainly from that sort of like showmanship of it. It really was that that wind blast. And then just at the end, the fire elemental kind of looks up and you just poke it in its eye, and with that little bit of residual force left, it dissipates.
And then at the end, so regardless of whether I hit or miss, my walking speed increased by 30 feet. So I just sprint the fuck over to Nowhere and Mercy. Before she does that, she just pats Beefcake on the arm and is like, "There you go, buddy." And she sprints
Bolts
in unnaturally fast towards the rest of them.
You note that there's a delayed reaction between your shoulder pat and Zombeefcake's reaction as vacant eyes just kind of blink. It's the first time you've seen them blink, but the canister is hauled onto its shoulder and it begins to sort of lumber as Nowhere. Top of the round, one left. What do you do?
I'm gonna stab down on that baby. Just gonna do it. Just stab down.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we've already popped a bunch.
Yeah.
What's the point? Even.
Yeah.
9's not gonna hit that first one.
Maybe not.
24.
Will hit the second time. Yep.
Okay. 1d4 plus 1. There we go. Up. 5.
Okay.
Do I need to add my sneak attack, or does it pop? I'll add my sneak attack. How about that? I'll just add my sneak attack just in
Was
case.
this the one I already did a little bit of flamboing?
Yeah.
11 sneak attack,
okay.
5 stab.
All right. Just help me with the math here. 11 is more than 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So.
It has 2 ones in it.
I'll say this: there's that delayed reaction of you stabbing it into the ground, stabbing through this, and you think for a moment as it just stares blankly at you that maybe you didn't hit it, or maybe there was some sort of elemental like weirdness going on. Then it just kind of pops, like one of those aquarium squidgies, like the ones with the sparkles in them. Just kind of. The wind
Nice.
is all. The wind is all that is left. The wind and the heat is all that is. Excuse me. Left with you as combat ends and the mountain with which you were going to hopefully secure audience with the good dragon. Excuse me. Kelzroak or Zelkroak.
Kelzerak sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be having a good audience with him after you continue your trek forward. Zombie Cake does indeed kind of lumber on, despite the damage that it's taken. You get the sense that maybe there might be some healing that is necessary or some sort of care that could be devoted to this creature, but it does not ask and it does not complain.
Do any of us know what fire elemental parents are like? Are they the caring type? The rear your own children kind?
I think they'll probably be pissed regardless.
Should we just run?
Let's get out of here.
Yeah,
sure.
let's go.
Hold on a sec. I need a refresher. And she will reach down into reach down in her bag, grab 2 servings of Honey Duchess, give 1 to Zombie and 1 to herself, and be like, "Drink up, dear. Cheers to our surprising survival." And she'll clink the glasses and hand them to him.
Is this in a sort of like shot glass, just a regular shot glass?
She like pours it out quickly. It's sort of it's like a tall glass, like a
flute.
tall glass, like a highball.
Yeah, I'll say this: as the sort of dimensions of the Minotaur kind of wrap its fingers around this very small glass, you note that there's no access to its mouth. But as you say, drink up, dear, and whatnot, it sort of settles the canister right by its side before you note fingers kind of clutching at the bottom of, or at the neck of this mask and removing it. It's not a...
Jovi's gonna look away. Jovi's gonna kind of go, I don't really need to see this.
Mercy's definitely gonna look.
I'm looking, yeah.
Jovi, respectful of the privacy of this entity, you both see this sort of like taut skinned, like sunken faced cow's skull with these sort of shorn horns that jut from either side of its head. What little of a throat that it has, it does indeed kind of have this very liquidy texture. And as it takes a deep draught of this, or a deep draft of this concoction, you note the like tendons and whatnot that actually move and swallow this wonderful, wonderful mixture. The eyes themselves are even more horrifying considering they are so vacant, but as it obeys the order and subsequently redons its mask, there's not much in the way of sleep that most people might be able to get.
Say, Nowhere, if I die out here, can you promise you won't turn me into a...
The good news, Mercy, is that I believe that only those who have proven themselves to be of unending use get turned into zombie beasts.
Oh, I should be alright then, I guess. Yeah, that sounds fine. Well, I'm scarred. Should we go see Dragon?
Does anybody else need to pick me up while we're here?
I just want to get the fuck out of this desert before some parents come along asking why we, rockabye baby push.
Hi,
The
Johnny
child.
and Samantha and Dougie and Bruce and Brian and Samantha too and Sandra and oh my god, my baby.
Yeah,
what
that.
you're trying to avoid.
So Jason, I don't know if the undead can benefit from healing magic.
For mercy's sake, or for crap, I can't say that. For the sake of brevity, we'll say yes.
He gets 10 HP back, and I get 13 HP back from drinking.
Oh, I see. You get the bigger number. I see how it is. Okay.
I need to pick me up.
What, do you want me to literally want me to carry you? I mean, I'm pretty fast. I can carry you if you want.
Mm-hmm. Jovi just made eye contact with Nowhere, pulls the shaker out, slowly pours it
into what kind of
It's like a highball. It's like a thick highball glass.
You just carry those highball glasses
if you
around
drop
with
it.
you? Where are they? In your pocket?
I have a bag of holding, basically.
Okay.
My bag of my mixologist kit has all the equipment that I need to be able to make.
Are we
It's
just knocking
a
back
cooler
cocktails in the
holding.
desert?
We're healing. We're healing.
Yeah, we're healing.
But
Yeah.
it does look like we're having a
We're
cocktail party.
healing.
It's
We're
healing,
healers.
though.
It
It's
does.
yeah. It looks like that.
Hey,
We understand the
hey.
optics.
Have you got one called tequila?
Tequila?
It's a tequila.
Tequila. God damn it, that's a good one. I will now, because I didn't think about it before. But yeah, Jovi just like smacks Mercy on the arm, like that's I'm so proud of you. And yes, she will make a note.
And nowhere you are given a glass of what was it called again? The
Honey Duchess.
Honey Duchess.
I will say, Nowhere might not realize this at the time, but the drink does two things. First of all, you get fucking hell 17 HP back. You're welcome.
Damn, yeah.
And you also get the benefits of the comprehend languages spell for the next minute.
Oh, nice.
Not that that really matters. We're all
Okay.
Oh, that means if I start trash talking you in Primordial,
There you go.
Yes.
damn it.
Actually, excuse me. Could you, Nowhere and Jovi, just, and you know what, Mercy, actually, all make
yay.
quick perception checks for me?
16.
Just drinking my glass. Do, nothing happening.
17.
And then Jovi?
8.
An 8. Okay.
Everything's fine. Nothing's happening around.
Yeah, as far as you're concerned, you're serving drinks. This is what you're sort of used to, obviously,
Noisy.
It's noisy and whatnot. Mercy, Nowhere, you need to get out of here as you hear whispers upon the wind that sort of have praise-filled adoration for the fact that at any moment, sort of the birthing should take place, and indeed there shall be a new stock of fire elemental.
Oh shit! No. And I just book it. I grab I grab Jovi's hand and I book it.
Okay, I imagine I'm like drinking my drink and I'm like, what is this going on?
Leave the glass if you need to.
Just immediately.
Chug.
Oh wow! Even the minute.
Oh, Nowhere. I didn't. Wow, I'm proud of you.
Even the Minotaur at this point in time actually starts looking around and like in mild concern as you bolt, so does it. I need you all to roll real quick for me some stealth checks, if you don't mind.
Are we trying to be stealthy?
Are you? Or are you
I'm trying not to get
literally just trying to
I mean, I assumed we're in the middle of an open desert running towards a mountain.
That's fair. Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm quite
it's-
stealthy by nature. I got a
I have
19.
good stealth, actually. You'd be shocked. I got a 14, which was a really bad roll.
Can I have advantage because Mercy's helping me?
No.
That's a no.
I don't think you can help in stealth. I think that's the point of stealth.
4. 4, you say. To shreds, you say. Okay.
Well, no, not a 4. 6. Sorry. I forgot to add my.
Why? Because that's better.
It's
Way better. Absolutely. And then nowhere. What was yours again?
I cleared it, but I think it was 19.
Okay. We'll say that, Dice X is not leading you astray. So, this was more about covering your tracks and making sure that, you don't leave much behind in the way of your presence. So, Mercy, nowhere, you're perfectly fine. Jovi, as you're being dragged along, it's kind of hard not to, but you note that the Minotaur's stride is kind of disruptive enough to where most of your traces are at least a little bit left as little more than traces. As you've made a ridiculous amount of headway, and as the storm has picked up and sand has been blowing through this kind of area, a darkness kind of clouds your vision, almost to the point where it's very difficult to distinguish the mountain from the horizon beyond it. I would like each of you to roll a survival check.
Oh boy.
As we now hit the final strat.
18.
13.
22. I got a natural 20.
Aha! All right. So nowhere, even though the elemental plane of fire, you're not entirely unfamiliar with, although the conditions which surround it are always terrible. So you've sort of prepped for the worst, and indeed, I'll say that on the house, Gorg threw in a couple of what are those things called? Opera glasses, or sort of binoculars that kind of shield your eyes and clarify your vision a little bit more, even amidst the sandstorm that is now picking up. The actual form of the mountain has revealed itself gloriously to you. Mercy, you've been able to kind of suss it out, even with the sand blasting your eyes. Jovi, it's difficult. You can keep an eye on everybody else and their movements, and more than anything, you're kind of acting as the sort of buoy to which the zombie beefcake is tethered, as you note that he's kind of lumbering along at a slower pace. But all that said and done, nowhere. You have a perfect vision of the mountain, even in these hazardous conditions. If you would like, you, with a natural 20, know the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, obviously, and you can make it quite easily toward the mountain, only if you brave this sandstorm for longer than is necessary. You'll get there quicker, but you get the sense that the journey will be more arduous. However, sort of to the left of your current presence, you note there's a little bit of a ridge that shields a good portion of the current mountainside from the sandstorm. It's a little bit more roundabout, and you'll have to stick to the ledge, but you would have no issue in terms of levels of exhaustion or anything like that.
Okay. I will relate that to everyone. And after I've related all the details as they stand, gotta adjust my lighting here, I'll say, so it is simply best if we just persevere. Does anyone have any objections?
So straight through the storm, right?
Straight through the storm. That's the quickest
sure.
way.
If you don't mind getting your outfit a little mussed up and a little sandy when we go speak to the dragon, that's fine with me.
Although that does pain me, I understand that the time frame with which we are working is more important than my fashion. And it doesn't matter. I always dispose of my outfits after an outing.
What, you mean you have, like, brand new clothes every time you go out?
It's not like she does very
Yes,
often.
of course. Do you
I
wear
mean,
the
do you at
same
least
thing
give
every
them to,
time you
like,
go
some
out?
kind of... I mean, I might tie a different color sash around my waist once in a while, you know, just to mix things up. But, like, don't you even donate it to, like, I don't know, like a charity shop or something? Like, someone might pay good money for secondhand Gork Dork.
No, Gork would not allow that. Gork is never secondhand. Bespoke
Tell me
or
Gork
die.
has his own.
So,
That's
are you
true.
saying
his
that at
t-shirts.
various points throughout the River Styx, there are just these discarded one-off bespoke gowns?
And trousers.
Damn, I need to start, like, getting some nets and...
Oh, they fully disintegrated in the
Really? Wow.
waters by now.
Damn, I thought I might have a bit of a side hustle. Anyway, Sandstorm.
Jovi just like loops onto Mercy's arm and is just like, oh, there's nothing wrong with being a little windswept, I guess.
I try and like hold Jovi. Like, I guess I've only really seen Jovi as in like the bartending capacity, and that she has like these special drinks powers. I probably don't have a point of reference for just how well she could resist a sandstorm. So I think, yeah, Mercy would be trying to help Jovi along just politely.
Just understanding where the expertise is and how I should lean into that rather than expecting myself to do well in this circumstance.
Sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Nowhere you note that Zombeefcake has actually tried to hustle up to your side and shield your form with its lumbering sort of body. It's doing an all right-ish job, but given the hectic nature of the winds, it's admirable, and it would certainly be
It's the thought that
yeah,
counts.
it would certainly be a chivalrous gesture from a mind that could think, but as you sort of stare back into these vacant eyes, again, thought that counts if this thing has thoughts.
I appreciate it. Nonetheless.
Indeed. A few hours' travel stands between you and the mountain. As such, I need you all to roll for me a little bit of a constitution saving throw.
Oh, yeah. Like,
25.
Well done.
I said my name.
Yeah, 11!
Constitution save.
I think you got this backwards,
8.
Jovi.
Uh-huh.
So, nowhere, that's an 8, you say?
8.
An 8. DC was 10. Okay. So, Mercy. It's kind of strange. You begin thinking like, okay, I'm going to help Jovi along in this sort of venture. I'm going to be so heroic. Cut to almost immediately just this absolute like vacant forward glance, your hair being crusted with this very terrible sand, your form just being battered by the winds over and over and over again.
Lightweight.
Jovi, however, is striding forward actually very, very capably, at least. And
She comes from hardy stock.
yeah. And though, of course, it is a little bit of a trek, it's nonetheless at least easy to kind of divine where to head and what. Even now, Jovi, you actually get a sense of how the winds are moving, which is admirable given the hectic nature of this plane. Nowhere. Zombeefcake has really been trying and failing to actually shield you from a majority of the winds, and excuse me, your skin is sand blasted, your dress is obviously not in tatters, but it's starting to the fabric is starting to shift in uncomfortable ways, and The sands are being even more difficult to navigate than usual. All of these just sort of accumulate in a feeling of fatigue that kind of nestles itself into your chest. As you actually cast a weary glance up to the mountain that is, again, about now solidly hour or so away. The sandstorm itself actually begins to pass and clear as you reach the base of this mountain, or near enough to the base of it, to where its protections can be afforded.
Whew. So, is there a door?
I don't know. We will have to wait until we see the situation at hand, and I must admit that I am becoming excited for the prospect of meeting this dragon, if only so we are out of this storm.
You
Yeah.
excited? No.
I mean, the longer we spend in the elemental plane of fire, the less it's like a place to take a vacation.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Just, the more time we spend here in the elemental plane of fire, the less it kind of seems like a nice place to take a vacation stop,
I warned you, dear.
Well,
Anyway.
we do need to save the ship, so this is hardly a vacation.
Yeah, that's right. So what, we will just carry on wandering around the base of the mountain until we find, like, a really imposing, spoopy archway or something?
What is everybody's passive perception?
Oh, I have a fair amount. 15.
Well, I have an eye for detail, which means I can make a perception check to spot a hidden creature or object, or make an investigation check to uncover or decipher clues. Can I use that to try and spot like a lair entrance? It's maybe been hidden by some pond fronds pulled across the
fire elemental palm frond.
I will say this.
Is there a rock, a fake rock with a key inside of it?
That's clearly plasterboard.
One of them feels hollow. Just knock on the rock.
Hang on. Okay. So, eye for detail, that will help. But just give me your passive perception at the moment, because there is something that I think might catch your eye if it's high enough.
12.
Okay. And then Joey?
15.
Okay, 15. And Mercy, what was it again? 16?
Also 15.
Oh, 15. Okay. So, all of you note, as they're not really hiding themselves, as it were, all of you note that there seems to be at least one juvenile. It's very strange. As you look to the mountain itself, Mercy, Jovi, you note that there are two sort of dark blobs that emanate and permeate, the clouds for but a moment before diving down and into the side of the mountain. One actually hesitates and stands, quote unquote, still in the air, mad wings beating as you note its claws and whatnot flailing about. An errant lightning strike cracks across the sky, launching itself into the sandstorm that you had just escaped from, electrifying the air. And in that brief moment, you see the terrible visage of a red dragon. Immediately, the dragon begins to descend into the side of the mountain, from your position, the west side of the mountain. West side. and subsequently disappears. For a brief moment, it's very hard to divine what it was doing, but it's definitely along that side of the mountain. Nowhere. All you see for the brief moment that you cast your eyes is that form jettisoning itself into the mountain.
Whoa. So that side then?
Yeah.
It was quite a bit bigger than I thought it would be.
Red dragon, dear.
Yeah, but I swear he said young red dragon, didn't he? I thought like young ones were smaller.
Well, how old's Eamon?
Oh god, yeah, you got a good point. Shit.
Yeah, I think we better make our way that way then. Might as well knock on the front door.
Yeah.
Did we have an introduction or something?
I
Like
they're pretty vain, right? What if we bow and tell it it's beautiful or something, aren't they?
I mean, I think we start with Eamon sent us.
That's true.
I meant like, does an introduction precede us, or are we just telling him that?
Well, we also have to
Hang on,
consider
so-
that there are two dragons, and one of them one of them's the good one who we want to talk to, and the other one is a nasty dragon.
Well, let's go talk to it, and either we have a nice conversation, or we all bow our heads and accept our servitude to our new dragon lord.
I mean, it can't be any harder to escape than the rites, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We might have
Theoretically.
a slightly less impressive bar, though.
I imagine.
Okay, well, no harm in, just being positive and stepping forward. Let's go!
And sure, Jovi just follows me.
I will.
After
I
you,
sense
dear.
Jovi's hesitation, and I will reach out and kind of try and like pat her reassuringly. So I'm just gonna like kind of reach out, and I'll be like, and I'll tap her shoulder, like, and then I'll brush at it, and kind of then like tap her lapel, and just like kind of making awkward hand strokes. And I actually even forgot what I was going to say because I got so distracted by describing the awkward way that I was touching Jovi.
I even think that Nowhere probably lost the plot.
Yeah,
As
so
it was
she's
just sort of the
I'm
sensory
like,
information.
Jovi, there's no need to be worried about. We have connections. Dragons are very fickle yet predictable beasts in their lust for coin and all things shiny. If we are able to make a deal with this dragon, no matter how young he is, I'm sure he will decline eating us.
Ever the optimist.
Yeah, we're fucked when Nowhere's the optimist.
It would simply be bad for business. And it would be difficult to acquire new things. Clearly, this dragon has some relationship with our dear Gaiman,
Amen.
Amen.
Amen Gallo Dodger.
Amen Gallo Dodger.
Which really begs a question. That's a story I want to hear.
Yeah, I know, right?
I figure we just start with Eamon and perhaps the favor it's owed to Eamon. And
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Sounds good to me. And I guess as Mercy's saying that, she's kind of continuing to march around the side, just carrying along the edge of for the point where the dragons both kind of entered.
Jovi's, as they're walking, Jovi's trying to keep what eye she can out for any signs of, fire elemental parents. Making sure nothing followed us.
All right. As you ascend the mountain of Zarakel and this second red dragon that was not mentioned by Eamon,
No. It's his
I thought it
brother.
was mentioned. So it was a sister, I thought.
No, it's his brother and their dad just died. Well, it's a twin named Calzara. Is that a sister or brother?
As sibling.
Sibling. Well, it's a
we don't know.
twin. It's a twin, and whoever Calzara is, they're a dick, and their dad just died. So it's like, wah, 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 you know.
What?
Ah.
We should have brought flowers.
Damn it, why don't we have a druid?
I forgot that I had mentioned Kelzar. Anyway, so Zadakel and Kelzara, as they descend into their lair, you eminently follow them, and as as we are marching along, I would like each of you to roll survival checks first, just so we can see how you orient yourselves for the next few checks.
8.
Nowhere, as it is point of exhaustion, you are going to be rolling these at disadvantage.
I also rolled an 8.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What?
Oh.
Did I go?
Things
Yeah, your
weird.
camera bounced.
Yeah.
Oh, what? But my Zoom's still open.
No, it's in
You might
the...
have turned
How
off
did
your
it
camera.
go?
Huh?
I'm nowhere now.
You might have.
Did my
turned
camera
off
turn
your
off?
camera. Yeah.
I-
Stay with
What?
us, folks. We'll fix it.
We're getting there. It's fine. It's perfect.
So, like, just Constitution, so finicky. You fail and your camera turns off. Okay, so let's do the order really quick. Yeah,
Yep.
you're back. You're back. Okay.
Hello, it's me. I'm back.
And we're immediately going to have to turn off.
The 3 players hop out, and I will list us. Rachel, turn off your camera real quick.
Yes, sirree. Hold on a sec. Let me just find Zoom. Boop.
Please bear with us.
Just you and I, Chad. So good to see you. Hope that you're doing okay. Drink some water, if you can.
All right, do I
Rachel, your
move
turn.
back? Nice.
Okay, I have to pay attention to these guys now, so just...
We should be good.
It's okay. All right. Survival checks nowhere is at disadvantage
so good for
because...
your private time with the audience.
Yeah. It's encouraging.
Okay, well, with disadvantage, my check was 9.
Okay. Mercy, what was your check?
8.
And then Jovi?
I also rolled an 8.
Okay. It takes you a little bit longer than it should have to sort of orient yourself on the western side of the mountain, but you are able to get yourselves trekked up the side of it, and barring a few sort of missteps and roundabouts where you kind of lose sight of your positioning on the mountain, you're able to, after about an hour or so of hard travel, get to a point where you assume the dragons, Zadakel and Kelzora, actually flew into the mountain. You just can't see where. The mountain face on the western side is full of craggy rocks and just inhospitably steep drop-offs and cliffs. It's a wonder that anything could potentially land on the side of this mountain, much more make a lair within the mountain itself. So it's a little bit confusing as to why or how, indeed, the dragons made their home and are not currently here.
Secret dragon door?
Secret dragon door. It's a secret dragon door. Can I search for the secret dragon door?
Go ahead with your eye for detail, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of the...
Can I
little
help to
tower.
give her advantage?
You know what? I'll say, Mercy, you can go ahead and assist in investigations to counteract the exhaustion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's not mask.
So I get advantage, or do I just get regular?
This will be a straight roll since it's disadvantage from the exhaustion and then advantage because Mercy's helping. by just basically doing everything that you say
That's
to
a
do.
19 plus 9, so that's a 28.
Yeah.
It's a 28. I got a 28 to find the secret dragon door.
Catchy song.
It's nice.
Luckily enough, Mercy, as you sort of describe the angle, or what you figure is the angle that they might have maybe entered into the lair, nowhere you're able to kind of piece together what exactly transpired. On the sort of middle ground of the mountain, almost halfway up to its peak, you note that there's actually kind of almost like a gator mouth of jagged rocks that kind of opens up, and then from it spills forth a few dirt trails. It's very strange, but okay. You know Pride Rock from The Lion King is basically that, but it's got a hole in it in the mouth, and it's a lot more
Pride Rock
jagged.
does as well, right? Because the lions sleep inside Pride Rock.
It's just tiny. It's just real
Yeah,
tiny.
it's just
Comparatively.
comparatively, it's real tiny. The mountains of the elemental plane of fire are absolutely daunting, and unfortunately, there's a lot of obsidian and kind of these darker igneous stones that kind of permeate the landscape. So parsing details for the untrained eye is a little bit more difficult than on other planes. However, nowhere, being so well versed in the details, you are able to find the entrance to this cave. It will take you probably about another hour of mountaineering to get to that particular spot, but it's possible.
Guess we
Have you
start.
thought about just calling out to him?
We could try what for like a taxi service to the mountain.
Well, a taxi service we have is a big guy over here. His hands otherwise have
No response from Zombeefcake as just vacantly stares forward.
I'd expect nothing.
I mean, it just looks like we're gonna probably have to climb.
Right.
Nowhere? Are you cool with climbing?
I suppose that there are no other options except to climb. And I am going to hike my dress up. And underneath, you'll notice that I actually have some nice trousers. So I'm gonna hike my skirt up, and I'm gonna tie it. It has an option to tie, and now it's a trouser set. It's a trouser onesie with like a very nice little bow sash.
Modular clothing. Gork's expertise within tailoring knows no bounds.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Yeah, you fashioned for yourself this new look heading into the second and maybe final leg of the journey that we will be able to explore a little bit more come next session. Dun, dun, dun. As
It's very Lord of the Rings. You just hear bum, 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 bum,
And the camera
and we're all
pans
just like-
away and like over the mountain.
yeah, there's just really this overwhelming sense of like less heroic and more like, God damn, we gotta climb this now. Like,
I'm really glad I wore my flat boots.
yes, unfortunately.
We're just cruise ship employees, please. We're not heroes.
That's,
There's our tagline.
we're cruise ship.
We're not heroes. We're just cruise ship employees.
It's at least the title of the episode. All right.
Yes.
Oh man. Unfortunately, due to player obligations and other sorts of just temporal weirdness that happens with summer, we're going to be saying farewell and adieu to a couple of the players here. But stick around, please, 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 as Angie and I will be chewing away at some of the World Anvil prompts that have been going on for their summer camp. Hey, told you we'd talk about it. And also just more generally about the world of the final rites and taking audience questions and whatnot. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can get all this if you come on live 2 p.m. CST Tuesdays. It's kind of nice. But for now, we're just going to take a little bit of a break. Everybody can get their stretches in, get some more to drink, get some wind in your lungs, and just enjoy before we head into the final hour of the final rites. We thank you so much.
Yes. You want to call it like a 10-minute break, maybe?
Let's call it a 10-minute break. Why not?
We'll see how quick I can get it set up, and we'll
and then we'll decide.
So please take a break, get some water, get your questions, figure out what you'd like to know, and we'll talk to you later. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Hi, guys.
Adios.
Thank you, Heavenly and Mercy, for joining us.
Yeah.
You changed it, but she didn't. Heavenly and Rachel, thank you for both joining us for the game. All right. Bye. One, two, and we're live.
Hi.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us through the break. I am Angela. And this is Jason, up there. He's up there. And we are cast members of Final Rites. If you're just joining us, welcome. That's kick-ass. If you stuck with us through session, hooray. Also, Jason, can you hop out and hop back in because you're technically in my spot?
Fine.
Yeah, that's because my internet died. It's fine. There we go.
There we are.
Now we're in the right spots and you can see us.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So we are, as we did previous weeks, going to be talking a little bit about World Anvil and working in the application to build out the world of Final Rites. We are super proud to be sponsored by World Anvil, and I didn't put it in the thingy. I should have thought about it, but because it is summer, World Anvil's doing their summer camp this month. I'm so excited. It's a 30-day competition to write and get inspired for your world building. They have 30 prompts, one each day, and as you work on your world, and whether it's a new world or an existing world like we're doing, and there's some neat stuff for highest rated articles. You can get your friends to like it. You can get up on the rankings. There's over $5,000 of prizes that you can get that are up for grabs for different things. And so we're going to be writing 300 plus word answers to writing prompts provided by summer camp. Just for the record, though, it's not in order, Jason. We don't have to write it in order if we don't want to. So if a particular one inspires you, we can work on that one first. Let me pull it up. Summer camp, so pretty.
Yes.
All right. So there are a ton of writing prompts that we can play around with, and I'm very curious if any of them in particular strike your fancy, Jason, or if you were thinking about the ones we had discussed before, and we can just work on those.
Well, just as a quick rundown, I think it would be interesting to just see what the prompts are generally about and
Sure.
sort of how they function. So obviously, taking it line by line, you've got describe a lush and fertile location in your world. You write about an important plant in your world, what it's used for. You describe settlements that are famous or infamous for its industrial activities, ceremonial buildings, inhospitable areas, natural landmarks, just these wonderful little prompts that add character and color to the world. Even going down, you have specific things about influential women in your world, what they achieved, common idioms and sayings.
I think you mean our cast, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things. Writing about typical housing or dwellings within one of your cultures or countries. Just, I really do appreciate that World Anvil generally just encourages this type of world building, even if it doesn't necessarily seem to translate. It's a very good exercise to just look at one of these things and think, how does this fit within my world? Have I given thought to, I don't know, the physical condition associated with old age in the world? Have I thought about culinary traditions that are unique to a particular group within the world? It's like, it's very, very wonderful to have these sorts of bits, and especially for the final rites, it's very interesting to have these sorts of prompts because they lead to alternative kind of interpretations. I mean, considering that the final rites is a ship, it is an entity, it is not it is a world in and of itself, but there's more to it that I think we can more clearly communicate with these sorts of things being brought to mind. As it stands, I think it's just nice to have a little bit of a discussion concerning the prompts that we discussed a little bit earlier this week. So
we looked at them in order. So the first 2 prompts on the list were 2 that kind of struck our fancy when we were talking about them. At least at first, we were really going to hang around for maybe 45 minutes or so. We're going to talk about a lush and fertile location in our world, and about an important plant in our world and what it is used for. So let's get talking. Which one do you want to work on first, Jason? You want to work on the lush and fertile location first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go with a wide plethora, and then hopefully be able to clarify as time goes on.
Cool. All right, so let's just work on a new article.
Yeah, well, why not?
Go to a dashboard. Which, oh yeah, by the way, you can get 30% off a World Anvil membership right now. It is very, very cool, so you should check them out at worldanvil.com. Light up the forge. So I'm gonna go to my worlds. Gonna go down to Final Rite. And we've got our screen here. So, what would we consider this particular, this would be a location?
I would think so. A lush and fertile location aboard the final rites.
Okay. What are our options here? Profession, yeah, help me if you see it.
Yep, just looking around.
Myth, legend, material, geography. It probably would be geography because it would be a place.
I would say so. Galaxies, solar systems, planets, valleys, all geographic locations. Given what we described, I would say that would be a geographic location aboard the rites.
Alrighty. So let's work. I was able to get it to prompt. What I will say, when you hit the prompt, it automatically opened a geographic location article.
Hey!
They knew what they were doing.
What a surprise! It's almost like this is their job.
Alrighty, so let us.
I mean, we're thankful for the work that you do.
All right.
Always.
Alrighty, so let's talk about this. So we are discussing Succulent's storage closet. Is that word, or his pantry? Succulent's pantry sounds like a culinary version of Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I actually appreciate that sort of dual thing. So Succulent's pantry, yes.
All right. So this is just a real quick overview. This is a geographic location article. It has a bunch of things that you can fill out automatically. You could also, if you have your own sense of what your article needs to look like, you can use the vignette or freeform prose box to fill it out using Blackboard code, which there are buttons here that will do a lot of that formatting for you as you're writing. So it's got a bit of a rich text box. It's a little small here. I apologize. I'm just trying to. I have my screen zoomed out so you can see more of what's going on the page. But yeah, so let's talk. Do you want to write some general stuff first, Jason, or do you want to look through what our options are here for filling it out, and then just fill it out as we go?
let's go ahead and keep with consistency. Just start with that general bit, and then further clarify as time goes on.
Okay,
I think
so
would
so
be
let's
the
write a
review.
little bit about Succulent's Pantry. What is Succulent's Pantry?
Sorry.
Great. It's great. It's so dirty. It sounds so dirty.
It sounds so bad, but it's just okay. For those of you who have watched the final rites, there has been an appearance of a lovely character by the name of Succulent, who is a tiefling with the virtue name of that, charged as galley cook and, basically purveyor of all sustenance aboard the final rites. He's a jovial sort of personage, but I will say, in likeness to our intrepid keeper of the ledger, Nowhere, Succulent has some particularities about him. In specific, in his harvesting and maintenance of ingredients. The Final Rites, as such, is a mobile vessel, an interplanar and intergalactic entity, almost, just to put it like bluntly. As such, its environ is self-contained. It has to be self-contained. But contained within that is a particular section, Succulent's Pantry, where there is a degree of specificity for each and every imaginable foodstuff that Succulent might have. One of the most popular, or at least one of the most prevalent that he commonly employs, would be greenery, mainly because of its nutritional quality and whatnot. It's erroneous to simply call it a pantry, obviously, given that its complicated nature lends itself to further classification. You see, he coordinated with the predecessor to Eamon Gallow Dodger, the keeper of the engines, to devise an artifice by which a veritable menagerie of plants and other sorts of greenery might be kept and maintained throughout the rigors of interplanar travel, and indeed whereby he might expand to include various bits of flora and perhaps fauna that they come across that Succulent deemed to be pardon, savory enough to include in future dishes, so that Succulent might have more strict control concerning the foodstuffs of the rites. He's to say that he's eccentric, at least when it comes to the flavor combinations that he's usually put forth. That would be an understatement. So, the pantry itself acts as its own veritable, lush and verdant location, simply because of the amount of fresh ingredients and fauna that he usually keeps. It's sort of like if somebody took an industrial agricultural farm and condensed it into about I'd say about a 24 by 24 space aboard the rites. And then on top of that, you regularly introduced a number of esoteric ingredients like I don't know. I haven't given them names, but basically to describe them, star fruits with like the flesh of citrus inside them. You've got apples that might be, differing colors, differing flavors, purple and red, yellows, and brilliant, just vibrant colors that just permeate this space merely because Succulent has an obsession and he's got the time and ability to, as galley cook of the Rites, feed the crew as he sees fit. It's a sharp departure from some of the previous not command crew, not concierge either. The third one that now escapes me for whatever reason. Concierge and
we hold on. We can find out.
Oh, we can find
Let's
out
go
by looking aboard
let's
our
go to Final
world.
Rites and Final Rites.
Public page,
Oh, that's for the game.
and that's us
but, you know.
right there.
Yes, hello. You can see. Oh God, recursive.
Recursive. Hurry.
The crew. Command conservation.
Conservation. There it is.
Concierge.
So we have
I'll just keep this up in case we need it.
as a member, not equal to conservation crew. He's slotted within concierge, but his portion of responsibility is most fervently attached. As again, the office of galley cook is something that is necessary. You can't have a sort of crew that runs around with an empty stomach. It must always operate at peak capacity, and in order to do that, hey, even demons and devils admit you gotta feed people. Outside of the Final Rites, it's not that there is no greenery. Obviously, there are sort of aesthetically pleasing plants that can permeate certain spaces aboard certain high rollers and the like. And indeed, there are perhaps abilities to have themed parties where verdant greenery might be necessary. The majority of it is very industrial, less accommodating to such verdant vistas. And as such, by just pure nature of existing, I think, Succulent's Pantry...
Yep.
Succulent's Pantry,
there.
yeah. I agreed to this. Yep. I agreed to this at the start. So, Succulent's Pantry would probably be the most verdant and not full. That's
fertile. Do it.
The most verdant and fertile portion of it.
It's part of the prompt: lush and fertile.
Yeah. No, I can just. That's how I'll justify
Pantry is lush and fertile.
Yeah, exactly. So.
God, I want to write that, but I'm holding it back. I'm resisting the urge.
We'll resist the urge. We'll shove it in. Nope. we'll
shove it in Succulent's Pantry.
No.
Yep. Okay. How about this? Let me show you what I have. And we'll talk after. Okay. So.
All right. Go ahead. Read as you so desire.
The Succulent's Pantry. The storage room of Galley Cook Succulent, where food and drink stores are kept for crew and passenger meals on board the Final Rites. Succulent not only stores non-perishable and refrigerated goods here, but also grows a variety of fresh ingredients in a greenhouse-like space within the pantry. With the authority of feeding the crew as he sees fit, Succulent makes a point to develop a variety of adventurous cuisine and drink that meets his high and elaborate standards.
Very, very well put. And very well communicated, I think. And I love the alternative name of the Domain of Sustenance. No one but Succulent calls it this.
Thank you to Charlie Horseman.
Oh, yes.
Horseman or Charlie Horseman? I'm not
Charlie
sure
Horseman?
what the pronunciation. Yeah.
It's
and Charlie Horseman is an ex-Royal Navy person, so Galley has basic food, but sauces have a magical effect on it. Final Rites acts as it's a mix between a military vessel and a almost like we've joked about calling it a cruise ship. But it does have that element of entertainment and wanting to create a almost special experience for the passengers on board, especially since not only is the Rites transporting like military personnel, but they might also be transporting diplomats, people who are using this neutral ground as a meeting place. And just as common, I don't know if it's required, like I don't know if they're just gonna fuck off, go somewhere else if Final Rites isn't really nice, or if it's just a matter of, you know, they have chosen to establish this location, and therefore it is required that we meet a certain level of luxury on this ship because of the people who have established it.
Yes, I will say that within the context of the Blood War, which is the eternal war that rages between devils and demons, as we all know,
As you do.
as you do, in the context of that, there are not a lot of opportunities to meet on neutral ground. And what little opportunities are afforded, like I believe it's the plane of the Lady of Pain, it's sort of in like a donut-shaped city of absolute neutrality on the plane of absolute neutrality, which is very restrictive and not very, shall we say, accommodating to the more mischievous sides of devilish or demonic magics. Final Rites serves as the meeting point for a hell of a lot of people. And so, given that it's such a unique opportunity that the sponsors have sort of seized upon, the sponsors being the mysterious unseen forces which ensure that the Rites is within proper, maintenance and captaining and what have you. Given that it's such a unique opportunity, the sponsors definitely want to communicate that, hey, this is not only a very, very unique opportunity, it's also something that can serve to maybe butter up a few weary adventurers who are looking to get something done a little bit more quickly or whatnot. So it's very much in the spirit of that, as you said, keep them entertained, keep them happy with circumstances as they surround them, even as you have, again, those sort of military personnel who are using it as a retreat to take a breather from the Blood War, which, yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, the ship has to roll on. So, yeah.
So let's circle back. All right, so that's a really basic description of the location. If you would like, we can go through some of the other options. We can fill it out a little bit based on just, honestly, what's really neat is there's prompts to be found within the articles. There's such a thorough listing of categories of topic you can put into this article that you might end up realizing, oh, I didn't think about that. I should actually consider that as a detail I put in.
Well, let's go ahead and look through a couple. Yeah, why not?
All right. So, location type. Let's see what our options are. So there's like literal geographic locations. Let's see.
I would not personally describe it as a a cove or a fjord, but let's see what they might have.
Let's see what our options are. Because we're kind of playing a little bit with the definition. It's not a vehicle. It's, yeah. Let's see.
Megastructure.
Let's call it a multiverse.
It could be. Megastructure seems to be the most fitting at the moment, but let's keep sort of waltzing through.
Island, Isthmus, Jungle. It keeps resetting for me because I'm holding Alt.
Megastructure again, multiverse again, planetoid, moon, rapids, pond, etc., etc. Salt flat, savanna. Simulation. That's interesting. Underground, subterranean, wetland.
That's a wormhole. I like that.
It's a wormhole. I'll say, just to keep it simple, we'll say that it's a megastructure, given that it is a very mechanical place. Like, even though it is one of the more verdant structures, it's like, okay, You know, wow, this is going to be a very esoteric and probably nonsensical example, but you know how test kitchens are suddenly a thing? Like you've got America's Test Kitchen, Bon Appetit, and all that, like being very popular in the public consciousness. This is basically that, and I view those as part of a megastructure, like a landmark, as you said.
Yeah, the landmark is a different type of article. For the purposes of this prompt, it's asking for a geographic location. We're in a weird middle ground where it's not quite that. So let's take a look at what we've got for our options. We'll just say megastructure for now.
Sure.
Geography. Describe the location's geographic features. Is the terrain plain, mountain, or rolling hills? Does it have access to fresh water via river or lake? Is it at the edge of a sea or ocean? You can also talk about the views and natural beauty of the location. So, again, because we're talking a room within the ship, we're kind of DIYing this a little bit.
Well, but even then, I think that it shows that even though this is a very particular feature within this wider structure, it really does show that even these categories kind of spur into different avenues of thought. You know, it's got
Sure.
So in talking about the geography, immediately my mind goes to like the materials that Succulent and the predecessor to Aemon, who I think I might have figured out at some point, but I'll have to check again. But their predecessor helped assisting. You know, you've got silvers and other precious metals that were used in order to construct the specific engines which motivate, along with these sort of motivating crystals, the refrigeration processes and climate controlled portions of the pantry itself. You also have just the physical construction of it, with the walls being lined with a supremely sensitive material that, generally just lends itself to a environ that can be variable. So if you've got basically a desert plant growing in the middle of like a verdant field of wheat or barley,
how does that visually translate? So like you said you were dealing with like let me actually clarify here. So you said it was about a 24 by 24 foot. Like the whole space is about that big?
Yeah, about that. To be perfectly honest, it can be modified to be larger. But yeah, as Mr. Horseman put out, it's sort of like a hive world where you've got different levels of attention devoted to the ingredients. You have the more common that are just taking up a little bit more space simply due to their importance to regular meals. Staples like potatoes and greenery and the like. Whereas the more esoteric or hard to contain ingredients might be situated in smaller vats amidst these larger sort of storage rooms, or storage spaces, I should say. But again, the feel of it is not that sort of clinical, like industrial, open refrigeration unit and you get a few sad, carrots and whatnot. There really is a sense of this verdant life that is sort of buzzing about it. Obviously, with Succulent being as particular as it is, he might have been crazy enough to import bits of the local planar insect life so that the pollination processes continue as normal and that there's no real issue or
so there's bugs. You're telling me there's bugs.
There could be bugs. There might be bugs. You don't know. You've not been there yet,
Question, just from a descriptive standpoint.
Sure.
I'm looking for pictures to kind of capture what's going on with this place. And I looked up greenhouse just for the sake of it. Is there any sense of natural light being manufactured for this space to allow for growth, or is it lamps? Are we talking like an underground lamp sort of situation? Does
I
it look
would.
like a pot room, or does it look like a greenhouse?
It looks like a greenhouse. I'll say it looks like a greenhouse.
I kind of love the idea of like frosted glass, but then there's this light emanating from it. So it's almost like always a warm, sunny afternoon in this place.
Well, where it needs to
Inside the
be.
look of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously there are different light temperatures that are associated. Like, say, there might be a subterranean plant that only grows in specific circumstances with this specific soil. Succulent would be one of those persons who would say, okay, get me somebody who can build me this sort of contraption that simulates these exact set of circumstances because, this particular ingredient is essential now because I like it so much. And yeah, I think that sort of natural lighting would have been one of the things that he wanted to get right because again, it's about the maintenance of the life within this pantry and making sure that it is at every point in time operating at maximum yield and maximum capacity. I might even go so far as to say that he himself has enchanted or employs a gaggle of druids in order to monitor the sort of circumstances of this pantry, just to ensure that hey, everything's going according to specification, boss. Like, it would be sort of the bounds of his power as galley cook, having people actually work under him, but because the meals are so agreeable to most of the command crew, they allow him to get away with just that little bit more than what was presupposed by previous galley cooks.
Are there vaulted ceilings?
I don't
Does it feel like a tall space? Because I mean, if say he wants to grow something that's a little on the tall side, like rather than forcing it to have to accommodate a smaller space, he might be like, I need a taller room. Is this a bigger on the inside sort of deal?
I think he would be mad enough to coordinate with the artificer and see if there's a little bit of something that could do.
You made oh my god. The pantry is an extra planar dimension, basically.
I mean, there's a reason that succulents
I'm down
cook.
for it. I'm 100% down.
Exactly. I mean, I'll say that he's got more eccentricity than he's maybe demonstrated in game through the absolutely terrifying meals that Nowhere eats in comparison to some of the crew. Yeah, I think that there would be that sense of like, hang on, this is supposed to be contained within a 24 by 24 space? Yeah. Apparently.
All right, so a 24-foot space with frosted backlit tiles along the walls and ceilings, giving the impression of daylight through a greenhouse. Or rather, you're saying that the real world dimensions are 24 by 24. Like,
yeah,
that's the amount of space on the ship it takes up.
Yes,
but it is larger on the inside. Okay.
Yeah, a 24 by 24 square foot space, and then giving the impression of daylight through a greenhouse. I will say again, there will be those certain portions that are darkened for like subterranean ingredients and the like. So with the variable nature of the lights being what they are, he's able to more delicately control and otherwise keep tabs on the growth rate, the yield, and the actual status of the produce and ingredients that he employs and draws upon every once in a while.
There are specialized areas where light is delicately controlled for plant life that requires darkness or more subdued amounts of sunlight in order to thrive.
You got it. That's it.
Okay. So the room is carefully and modularly climate controlled.
Pretty
That
much.
is the way to put it.
I think that's the best way to put it that we've got. Accommodate. What a beautiful word. The English language.
Pain in the butt for me to spell.
Yeah. Succulent's variety of gardens. Yeah. Then of course, I think even at a certain point there would be those sort of dry storage spaces where it acts as a pantry. Like literally, the rice is all in like bags upon bags upon bags and whatnot.
We have a thing. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie Horseman. Thank you for the follow.
Hey!
We hope to see you again. We hope to see you continue hang out with us. We're finding that we are really enjoying this sort of. We're finding that we're really enjoying this sort of content, me and Jason, because it's getting us to actually think about the world, and also, fills time when we have shortened episodes or something like today. So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. It's always good to sort of have a good think about the world that you're inhabiting. Not only because it's something of a creative exercise on your part, but it also helps clarify specifics of the world, again, that you may not have considered. So it really is just a good exercise to take upon yourselves. And World Endville makes those exercises even easier, especially during the summer camp, and especially now that they've been really continuing to just bolster and hammer home the variability offered, what with not only World Anvil, just the surface itself, but heroes as well, to where you can actually control D&D characters or other sort of systems that you can keep track of their accomplishments, their roles in, if you're doing it from a campaign sort of standpoint, and really just kind of interact with your world in a more visceral way that I think, again, for the price of, I don't know, a souvenir magnet a month, it's just one of those things that
this is my new favorite thing. And I don't think canon makers are aware that we're doing this, but that idea of every time you mention the subscriptions, pick another little tiny thing that it's cheaper than.
Yeah, again, cost of a souvenir magnet a month. You can a very nice souvenir magnet, I should say. I should preface, not to dunk on souvenir magnets. I don't know why I'm picking on them, but
like a Disney magnet.
Definitely
way cheaper than that.
Disneyland specifically, because California, because I see you. I'm Texan, California. I can see through you.
I see through your taxes.
I see through your taxes.
Wow, that's almost an alliterative sentence. Succulent maintains several storage spaces. Can we make that a letter?
Succulent. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Not maintains. What's a synonym for maintains? There's got to be a synonym for maintains.
It's fine. It's not a necessary.
It is absolutely necessary. Sustains. There we go.
Sustain several. Okay, I'm gonna leave that.
Sustains. Succulent sustains several storage spaces. Say it 5 times fast.
All right, so let's talk. Okay, let's look at the rest of these really quick. We have flora and fauna, the animals and plants which live in these lands, and information about their local ecology and interactions. Natural resources, wood from the forests, grain from the fields, sheep in the rolling hills, and metals and stone from the bowels of the earth. Natural resources define all the assets that can be found by prospectors or can be exploited by the population living in or nearby this location. This room is nothing but natural resources, so this will probably be a relatively large. I imagine this is going to be more of a catch-all. Like, we need something. It's probably in the pantry.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Ruler and owner.
So.
Wow, it's almost like Succulent deserves an article soon.
Perhaps.
We will add that when we have a little more information about Succulent to include in his own personal article. Owning organization, we don't have the final rights as part of that. Organization's contesting ownership of the location.
No one.
Does Succulent have a sous chef that's trying to vie for power?
Not yet, but I'm thinking about it. And then parent location being, I would think, the final.
Would have been the final rights.
Would have been the final.
But yeah, part of the problem is just like having that variable definitions. I felt like final rights. Maybe we'll redo final rights as a location instead of a vehicle. Maybe that makes more sense. It's a portable location, but
yeah.
But the fact that it's going to be the parent location of a number of places,
exactly,
and we should be able, in character articles, you can also put character's current location, and you will get a drop down of those. So it probably makes more sense to have final rights be a location. I'll work on that at some point, just moving some of that over, because a lot of the vehicle stuff had more to do with it being a military vehicle, and that wasn't really necessary.
Well, and again, yeah, this is all a work in progress. Like being able to show the audience, that, hey, even we professional streamers have those sorts of internal debates and those processes whereby we can actually suss out, like, hey, maybe this is the direction we need to take this particular article instead of this one because XYZ.
I will say we are 79% complete with our summer camp article being eligible. So we need to write a little bit more. So I think we can do that.
Just a little bit more, just here at the end.
So this is what we're looking at so far. And I approve of. I already took something from one of our chat members, Autumn Lasalante Nariel. She gave us a flora that we can use.
Oh, really?
I mean, unless you have an idea for the plant later on, she came up with this idea of Pomme de Prismère or Pyre Palm, depending on whether you want to go with their color and flavor spectrum or a location-based name. I like the idea of a fun fruit idea.
Yeah,
but let's talk a little bit about flora and fauna that'll be available or accessible via the pantry.
In addition to the staples of many interplanar diets, you've got, wheat, barley, those other sorts of just general crops that we in the real world would be able to sort of recognize. You would have those sort of like, what were they called? Pomme de Prismère, that sort of esoteric kind of esoterica that just permeates this space, because obviously, Succulent's pantry accommodates a literal interplanar array of ingredients, and he's very adamant about making sure that not only are they fresh, not only are they grown in-house, but that they are as varied as the day is long. So the amounts of flora and even fauna that he has incorporated within this space is, again, for most other galley cooks, just an insane amount that he regularly employs. It luckily does not cut into expenses. Galley cooks were sort of always given more money than they would actually use at any one time, simply because they took it as a military vessel more than it is a cruise ship or whatnot. Succulent made sure that whatever gold that he was given by the sponsors and by the command crew was spent wisely and spent in such a manner whereby his stocks would improve, and with it improving crew morale and actually making the cafeteria a viable alternative to the more touristy restaurants that are contracted onto concierge. Not to the point where it's annoying. Obviously, there will always be high rollers that feel the need to visit Jovi or one of her competitors' establishment for refreshment. Or, excuse me, Hamish's establishment that Jovi just so happens to be a part of. But
We're associates.
Nevertheless, Succulent has made a mountain of this molehill, and he will defend it with his dying breath, basically. In terms of, and I saw you delete that alcohol. In terms
it's
of,
there. I just made it more fun.
Yes. I would say that there would be certain spirits and liqueurs that he regularly uses. However, he is not the place where you go to get drunk. Like, he's the place where you get, like, bourbon shrimp or something like that. Like, yeah. Nothing too, shall we say, luxurious about his cocktails. He's no mixologist, but he does his best.
I will say, mixology is not necessarily the skill of creating alcohol. It is the skill of understanding what specialty ingredients can be combined in order to create the best outcome and production of alcohol. So, I mean, heck, if there's rot gut, there's probably a good use for it somewhere in... or like homemade vodka with like fey tubers that he's got growing in the dirt somewhere.
Fey tubers. Alrighty, yeah.
Right, so what I'm thinking is I'm imagining this from like a DM perspective. Forgive me. Walking into a sort of enchanted greenhouse space, you would probably have, as I said, sort of like trees or shrubbery could potentially be grown there. Ground growth vegetables, things that are, just like a watermelon would grow on the ground, or like peppers and different vegetables that grow on plants. You'd have underground growth stuff. Underneath that, I imagine he's very careful about how he grows things so that you can do that nice different elevation, like efficient use of the space.
Right, that kind of tessellated design where it's not just sort of like shelf with shelf with shelf, but there's a sort of logic that follows it. Yeah, I
like a natural logic of understanding what plants are gonna put nitrogen back into the soil that will help this other thing grow that's right next to it, so that they kind of reinforce each other, and it makes less work for him if he understands that stuff, or if he has access to somebody who understands that stuff. It can be very well constructed.
Yeah.
Maybe even like lattices or something for things that grow up in vines.
Maybe. Trees and shrubbery.
The pantry druids. I like Circle of the Pantry. Only deal with edible plants.
Yes. Nothing else.
Let's see, trees and shrubs, and then you talked about the idea of darker or like darker areas, so like shaded or even darkness required. I mean, let's be honest, we're talking mushrooms here.
Yeah, we're talking mushrooms and potatoes mainly. So
Yeah.
spaces for, you can't say that a plant is nocturnal, so I don't know how to phrase it.
But I'd almost imagine it being like a little dark room inside the space.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a little shed.
A little
That's like a dark
subterranean,
room,
yeah. A little subterranean
cave.
kind of.
Okay, so like almost like a little wine cellar, but it's for growing things instead of all wine. Maybe there's wine in there, but
yeah, there might be a couple of things, yeah.
Yeah, because you'd keep it cool and maybe a certain level of dampness you'd control. Okay, so let's say there's a little sub section, like a little sub basement.
It'd be like going into the ant portion of like a zoo, like the ant or insect portion.
Say, like
yeah.
a science museum or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Learn how the ants live. Or if you ever go to Animal Kingdom in Orlando, they've got the naked mole rats on the side of the wall, and they're blind, so it doesn't matter that there's like glass right up against half of their tunnel. They just live in the tunnels and they hang out, and they don't really care.
Exactly. What we're saying is Succulent is sort of Disney adjacent. He's the most Disney adjacent thing on this fucking boat.
He's the land at Epcot.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I had a weird nerdy ass fascination with that place. You could go on a tour of their gardens where they would actually produce a lot of the food that was, a lot of the produce in the restaurants at Epcot are from the land. Like they collect a lot. They actually had like relatively large scale production there. So let me go off on a list here so you can think about whether or not this is in the pantry, because I'm just imagining what this space is. So they have, so maybe not hydroponic stuff, but they had lots of different alternative growth systems, like ways to combine way more stuff in one place. When you don't have to worry about dirt, you can stack stuff way closer and get a much more efficient use of space. But they also had like fish farms. So like you could have a koi pond that has fresh fish that he could potentially keep if he wanted. So like, yeah, growing aquatic animal as produce sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think that sort of sustainability would be something that he would be eminently interested in, because he understands, just from a purely economic standpoint, that, hey, if I control every portion of the process, that means less expenses for me. So, yeah, let me get a handle on this. I don't
also
know.
Grow things that in those spaces as well. You could grow seaweed and stuff. So
yeah, I think that would be the limit of his knowledge more often than not. I don't think he would then say, then I need farmers. Like I need to employ these things. But I think in terms of like crustaceans and aquatic animals that again sort of serve to permeate the soil with their refuse and whatnot.
Sure.
And just
anything I almost imagine he could have like mollusks and stuff. Just like, it's not a big like they stick to the side of a wall. You feed them. They don't require a ton of space.
There's one particular druid that came from like a coastal plain, and it was like, hey, do you mind if I just bring along some of these? Succulent had no idea what to do.
Just peels them off.
Yeah, sure.
I've been really trying to master Matthew Mercer's cork out of a bottle noise. He makes an incredible one that's got that suction, but also the thump noise.
Yeah.
Can't do it yet, but it's what I imagine a large mollusk being peeled off a wall would sound like.
Yeah, something like that. It's that unpleasant. Apologies to all with misophonia.
Man. So sorry.
or watching YouTube. But yeah, no, I think after this we can probably start to winding down, because I think it might be.
Yeah, let me finish putting this into a list.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we've hit our minimum. We'll probably flesh this out a bit more.
Oh, of course. We got time today.
And then just to clarify, so other things, non-perishable goods, you'd have canned goods, probably dried meats, refrigeratable meats. Okay, save changes. Fingers crossed, everybody. I wasn't counting our words.
I think we probably got more than 30. That's gotta be something.
Yeah, we'll see. Give it a moment to refresh. 2 hours later. No, this is me. Save for me. This is the second day in a row I've had connection potential problems.
Oh dear.
Just want to let it save and load.
Uh-oh. Could it be? Could it be that I am all alone now? Oh no. Uh-oh. If you're speaking right now, you gotta be real careful. You're a little bit of a robot. I think stream might also be on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Final Rites. I'm sure that technological issues will not be a feature in the future. We have a little bit of movement. We did not lose Angela. Angela is right here. She's here, but she's slow. Oh. I will say, it is a marvelous time right now.
Back in, but
I would love to bounce out and back.
okay, everything's back connected. I changed our area here. Bounce back in, and let me share my screen again so nobody's confused about why all of a sudden you're seeing Jason's face super big in the screen. There we go. Okay. We're probably a little delayed, but we have eligibly finished our title or our count. So let me uncheck it to publish our page.
Woo! No going back. All right, fantastic.
No, we can edit it after we're done.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
So, we have submit. Okay, so do we want to submit or do we want to flesh it out more? I'm all paranoid.
Let's give it a little bit, but let's say before too long, we will submit officially, just so we can have it registered with summer camp, and all the counselors can know that we did.
Fair. The thing we're missing, and the thing that I will work on, is prettifying it. Let's say I will look in our free use images. I will look at Unsplash and Pixabay and search around and try to find something that fits the vibe of what we're describing. Basically, I'm going to look for some greenhouse pictures, look for some garden pictures, and see if I can find things that seem to really capture what we're trying to describe.
I have no doubt that you will be able to beautify the shit out of this page. Succulent's pantry shall be filled with such greenery. It shall indeed.
And it shall be good.
But I think for now.
Alrighty. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, we are the part of the cast, half the cast of Final Rites. I'm Angela. I play Jovi, and Jason is our delightful DM. We are sponsored by World Anvil. They are an incredible world building resource, one of the most robust on the internet today that you can access for free. If you would like to try it out, you can find it at worldanvil.com. They currently have a couple more days left on their 30% off sale of all their guild memberships. So if you really, really like it and you want to try it out, some of their customization options and all the neat features that World Anvil's premier their guild memberships get access to, you should take a look, and you should definitely do it soon so you can get that 30% off, which is an amazing little savings on that. That's like 30% off that Disney World pin that we said it was cheaper than.
Disneyland, we know you,
Disneyland.
California.
Sorry. But yeah, so we'll finish up the article. We'll post it out. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it works. You can follow us on Twitter at Final Rites RPG. I'm so happy we have these codes that worked out now. You can click right there, follow us. We'll post when the article's up. We'll talk to World Anvil, and they'll we'll see if they can get a signal boost or something. I don't know.
But
But we are putting our hats in the ring as some of the things for summer camp, which is going to be going all through the month of July. 30 days, 30 prompts, 300 words a prompt, and we'll see how many we get done. I think it'll be a fun little exercise to get a little bit of information for the world that we're creating.
Absolutely,
Super
absolutely.
excited.
And as wonderful as World Anvil is, this show wouldn't be possible without their sponsorship or without the sponsorship of Die Hard Dice, who just announced, not even about an hour ago,
Just before we started.
Yeah, just before we started, literally, these beautiful, beautiful dice that I unfortunately lost the name of.
I've posted the link to both Neon Rain, which is a glow-in-the-dark set of metal dice, which is super pretty. And I will have to read the description. The soft and saturated haze of diffused colored lights flicker behind a curtain of evening drizzle. A lonely sax leaks out of the jazzy hole in the wall across the street, mimicking the sullen sky. Debuting our smooth, die-hard After Dark line, meet Neon Rain, now available. So you go to dieharddice.com and you find those. And then the second one is their new Celestial line of dice, which are super pretty. I'm so happy about it. As divine heralds, angels are often tasked with sending messages to mortals. Sometimes the message is, your time is up. Harbinger is the first of their Celestial dice line, which is, again, now available. You should definitely go check those out. They're super duper pretty. I feel like such a doofus. We definitely have I feel like we have a Die Hard dice code. I feel like we do.
Do we?
I think so. But we'll remember for next time, so you'll have to find out and follow us. Next game is going to be on the 16th,
July.
Tuesdays from now.
Mhm.
So please join us on July 16th for our next episode. I assume there's going to be a dragon involved. Our official game of Final Rites. We'll have our session going. So please come join us noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Just remember noon Pacific and try to figure out what your time zone is. That's the easiest thing for me.
Extrapolate from there.
And thank you so much, Charlie Horseman, for joining us. I assume this is your first time joining us. So please get sleep. You seem like you need it based on your time zone. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us for Final Rites World Anvil Edition, and earlier for Final Rites regular D&D Edition. And we will see you all next time. Please, again, follow us on Twitter at Final Rites RPG, and we'll see you around. Please do me a favor, as always, and be good to each other. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you later.
Adios. Take care.